past Cape Point at a rate of knots that would make Sir Francis Drake green with envy. But from the Cape waterfront you could board a gentler, more classic vessel and create your own romantic version of red sails in the sunset. Table Mountain drifts by as you sip champagne and watch the sun turn the sea golden as the most beautiful coastline in the world glides gently toward the glitter of a glamorous Cape Town night. In Durban, the Indian Cultural Centre offers a vibrant celebration of the rich treasures of Indian culture and religion. It continues the work Mahatma Gandhi started in this country. It displays jewelry and traditional treasures from India, delicate silverwork and sculptures that are exhibited in a light, airy, modern museum. The air is filled with the music of the sitar and the graceful attitudes of women learning and preserving the ancient sacred dances of India. The Hare Krishna Centre is striking, and it is lavishly decorated with allegorical paintings, and fashion adventurers can find a dash of exotic beauty in the sari shop. A short hop from Windhoek in Namibia lie the mysterious dunes of Sossusvlei, one of the most spectacular sights the continent has to offer. Their vast primal beauty is sculpted by the wind, and trekkers can explore them before returning to the comforts of the traditionally styled lodge. Dawn brings the perfect time for exploring the dunes, and there is no more breathtaking way to do this than in a hot air balloon. In the silence of the new morning, you drift high above the desert, looking down the rich tawny colors and sculptural shapes, while you are carried on the wind that built the dunes. And when you come to Earth, a champagne breakfast to toast an unforgettable experience. High above the streets of Johannesburg's fashionable shopping zone, Rosebank, a vibrant market has become a dazzling trading post for the artists and craftspeople of Africa. From Zimbabwe, Zaire, Zambia, and Nigeria they come with their works of art and their decor toys, their carvings and weaving and flights of fancy. It is an array that tracks the full spectrum of Johannesburg's people, from the matron in her Mercedes to the shoppers with their blue hair. They come for the vibe, for the artwork, for the fun, and the food. So, forget Portobello Road. Johannesburg's Africa Emporium at the Rosebank rooftop now is the shop window on the creativity of an entire continent. Near Port Elizabeth lies a wild domain in which the lodge of Shamwari is a tranquil oasis of comfort and repose. You may choose the more rural style of the bungalows as your base. If you have a love of classical beauty, there is the more opulent colonial-styled house. Either way, it forms the perfect place from which to set out on your encounters with Africa's oldest inhabitants, the lions, who are the lords of the African veldt. The setting of this reserve, close to both the sea and the mountains, gives it a unique climate in which wildlife thrives. Shamwari is one of the few places where you can get close to those amazing prehistoric survivors, the rhino. In the heart of Harare, capital of Zimbabwe, lies one of the great hotels of Africa, a sleek, modernistic tower which uses state-of-the-art comforts that connect the present to the hotel's colorful past. The hotel has been part of Harare's social scene for generations, but like the country, it has moved from its colonial past into a jet-set future. The past is still there in the elegant four-poster beds and the Explorer's Restaurant, where the solar tupis and hunting rifles of the great white hunters of the past create the decor. The menu, however, has been created by stylish modern chefs and barmen who mix cocktails to rival anything the rest of the world has to offer. The magnificent gardens of Kirstenbosch in Cape Town are a place of peace and refreshment. There is a botanical museum in which the most rare and fragile specimens of the Cape's rich plant world are preserved. Its patrons have included Cecil John Rhodes and Jan Smuts, who love the variety of the exotic rainforest-like foliage and the sturdier formal gardens, both of which flourish in the Cape's Mediterranean climate. Fountains, which flow from the summit of Table Mountain, are allowed to cascade in natural settings and are captured in elegant formal pools that mirror the timeless beauty of the garden. In Zimbabwe, they call the Victoria Falls the smoke that thunders, but the sheer excitement of seeing this fabulous cascade has been given a keener edge by the most spectacular bungee jump on the African continent. While the waters of what they call the Devil's Cauldron swirl and foam through their deadly currents, the intrepid jumper gets ready for an unforgettable experience as he dives through rainbows and mist towards the torrent below. You'll never get a more astonishing view of the famous falls rainbow than this. Durban's Dolphinarium is a world-renowned attraction which displays the agility and intelligence of these amazing mammals. But if you want a different kind of encounter, rise with the dawn and head for the horizon in a rubber duck, where you can join the dolphins as they rise to greet the sun. These friendly, gregarious creatures are always curious and welcoming to people who enter their terrain. If you are brave enough, you can swim with the dolphins and witness a sight you've only seen on film or in pictures. It is an unforgettable memory, which is enhanced by the high-speed ride, and together they will make a highlight of any South African exploration. Table Mountain. It is the site that sets Cape Town apart from all other cities. That assertive, flat-topped mountain that is the central feature of this tavern of the seas. Lifts that carry you to the summit open vistas of a city that has taken root on the edge of paradise. Clouds roll over to cover the mountain in its ethereal tablecloth. It offers us a sight no other city in the world can match. Durban's Golden Mile is not only the favored holiday spot of millions of South Africans, it is a mecca for the surfers of KwaZulu-Natal and the rest of the country. Durban has been a surfers' mecca for generations. The Golden boys and girls love the challenge of pitting their ingenuity and strength against the power of the waves. Beaches are kept clean and safe by mounted policemen who ensure that things stay in shape for the international surfing competitions which Durban hosts every year. It ranks with California and Australia in the minds of those surfer gypsies who roam the world from beach to beach in search of the perfect wave to ride through an endless perfect summer day. Situated between the desert and the sea, Windhoek is an astonishing mix of tradition and heritage. The German influence of the colonial era is reflected in the architecture and the food. but its status as an international resort is reflected by the Country Club, which is a sleek, sparkling, modern hotel with every possible amenity a tourist could desire, from a spectacular golf course to luxurious accommodation. Semi-precious stones make a great souvenir, but they're only one of the great purchases that Windhoek has to offer. Traditional handcrafts and beautifully crafted leather goods make great fashion buys. The annual carnival is also an attraction, and the colorful Herrera curios make this a great holiday opportunity. The rich history of the Cape settlement is preserved in the graceful elegance of its architecture. Hotels filled with antiques, which complement modern artworks in a synthesis of styles highlighted by four-poster beds, polished woods, pewter, and gleaming brass. The glory of the Cape is the harvest of its vineyards, fine wines made in the French tradition. Modern comforts, like swimming pools and tennis courts, nestle amongst 17th century buildings and dovecotes fringed with ancient trees, in accommodation that epitomizes the romantic historical charm of Cape Town. Rowdy, bawdy, gaudy Johannesburg has an elegant alter ego in a set of antiquarian bookshops in which exquisitely bound volumes of the classics and rare treasures of Africana can be found. Designed for leisurely browsing, these books contain delicate watercolors or the memoirs of Africa's great explorers, like Sir Richard Burton. In jazzy bohemian Melville, the books spill out onto the street, offering a treasure trove for collectors, rare treats for the specialist, and calm haven for anyone who delights in the touch and smell of books. In Zimbabwe, tourists want to see the untouched, unspoiled vistas of Africa, and Matetsi Victoria Falls Lodge supplies them with game drives that place you in direct contact with the creatures of the wild, and luxurious lodges that allow you to reflect on what you've seen. But life in this terrain clusters around the river, and the best way to experience the spirit of this land is to take to the water and drift on the current and see the world from a hippo's point of view as you follow the sun into the wildness of the African night. Just beyond Durban lies an extraordinary ecological treasure, the Umgeni Bird Park, a sanctuary which allows a dazzling array of Africa's birds to fly free in a strikingly beautiful setting that is their natural habitat. Flamingos are easily the most beautiful and recognizable birds of Africa, but in this unique environment you will find creatures of all hues and shapes. The great delight for the visitor is that you may walk amongst them, and even if they do fly away, the spacious confines of the park mean that they remain within view, and also allows guests to see them in their natural habitat. In addition to sending a strong environmental message, it is above all a visual display of total delight, which will amuse the whole family with its variety. From the Cape Town waterfront, you can embark on a coastal cruise or explore the Cape Peninsula by air. Most people, however, are content to stay in the waterfront itself and explore the laid-back buzz of a fully operative port that has been imaginatively converted into Cape Town's favorite playground for young and old. They come to lounge in the sun or to sample the many dockside restaurants which serve up superlative seafood. graceful Victorian architecture has been preserved and converted into shopping precincts where you can buy anything from high fashion to local craftwork without ever losing sight of one of the busiest and loveliest harbours in the world. Just up the coast from Port Elizabeth lies St. Francis Bay, a favourite haunt of surfers. Although it was originally built as a fishing settlement around a lighthouse, it has become the exclusive holiday retreat of the country's elite, featuring some of the best tourist accommodation and cuisine in the country. An ingenious set of tidal canals constructed in the 20s attracted wealthy homeowners who bought palatial homes and turned this into a resort as exclusive as Nice or Capri. But for all that, it has kept its unspoiled rural character with miles of pristine beaches and a mood of tranquility that has made St. Francis Bay the best-kept holiday secret in South Africa. When you land in Zimbabwe, Harare seems like a sleek modern city, but its closeness to its roots in the African earth are clearly displayed in the nearby African Sculpture Garden. The stone carvers of Zimbabwe are renowned throughout Africa, and in the last decade their work has been eagerly sought by galleries around the world. This huge outdoor gallery also serves as a studio for the artists, but it is impossible to imagine a better setting for these splendid elemental works that fuse traditional techniques with strong modern images and are often conceived on a scale as monumental and bold as Africa itself. At the foot of Table Mountain lies the elegant colonial portico of Cape Town's most famous hotel, the Mont Nelson. In rooms designed for the travellers of the Victorian and Edwardian era, time has stood still, and guests are taken into a world where the graceful traditions of the past still flourish. Afternoon tea at the Nelly, as the city's residents affectionately call it, is a ritual still done in a style that would have amused Queen Victoria. Leather chairs and secluded nooks create the feel of a great English country house, but in the colony. The chef supplies a cuisine to compete in style and presentation with the best the world has to offer, but uses South African produce in settings that only the southern tip of Africa can offer. In Durban, at the Greyville racetrack, the owners and punters prove that, in one of the few African lands that still boasts a regal leader, the sport of kings still flourishes. These days, however, the brilliant silks of the jockeys flash out under spotlights, and nighttime racing has become one of the city's liveliest attractions. From all over the city and from every corner of the society, people come to place their bets and feel that energizing pulse of hope as the horses get off to a flying start. The race is thrilling at the best of times, but under the dazzling lights, with the sparkling cityscape behind it, the experience really makes you feel like a winner, whether you go home with that jackpot or not. The flip in Zimbabwe takes you high over the Victoria Falls on the Flight of Angels, so called because it offers you a view of this great natural wonder that previously only angels and eagles could see. Only from above can you appreciate the extraordinary great slash out of the land into which the Zambezi pours. The scale and power is so huge that you can understand why the oldest inhabitants of this place called it Mozi Aitonyo, the smoke that thunders, and created legends about demons that lived in it to guard the gates of hell. The helicopter view offers a clear geological perspective, but does nothing to strip away the mystery of one of the most awe-inspiring sights on the continent. Most eco-tourists who come to Africa want to see the Big Five. Here's a delightful sixth candidate to add to the list of South Africa's unforgettable animals. Endemic to South Africa, and found only in the southern hemisphere, these jackass penguins are true ecological survivors. They date back 70 million years, and at Boulders, along the Cape Coast, you can step into their world and observe nature's wonders in a natural habitat as beautiful as the birds themselves. Falls in Zimbabwe is the place for spectacular daredevil adventures. You can ride the seething waters of Devil's Cauldron on a wild river raft, or you can plunge into the gorge on a thrilling bungee jump. Better still, do all three. Ride the rapids, or ride the wind, or ride the chopper on the Flight of Angels. You may get wet, you will certainly get dizzy, but you will never forget the unique experience of these events, because Africa truly is the last horizon for the daring men and women who have adventure in their souls. Downtown Cape Town lies the 17th century castle built by the Dutch East India Company to house the governors and soldiers who were the first European settlers at the Cape of Good Hope. These days, only trompe-l'oeil paintings can evoke images of how the coast once looked. Designed like a five-pointed star, this was a rough, tough settlement, so there is none of the grandeur usually conjured up by the word castle. The design is spacious and graceful, but functional, as befitted a remote colonial trading post. Only in the fountains and tranquil reflecting pool do we catch a glimpse of the European fashion of the time. Today the castle is a military institution, but also a museum, which provides a colorful link to the earliest days of the Cape Colony. Johannesburgers are enthusiastic moviegoers, and the city boasts many splendid cinema complexes. The Cinema Nouveau complex screens the latest art house films and has an elegant coffee shop for lively post-movie discussions. But in Sandton City, the vibe is livelier. Banks of computer arcade games amuse filmgoers while they wait. The foyer is a multicultural buzz of people from all over town, trying to work out which of the 15 cinemas they should visit. The foyer designs are vivid and innovative. Just hanging out at the movies is almost as much fun as the movie itself. But when that all-important choice is made, and the tickets, plus the popcorn is bought, audiences settle down for a state-of-the-art encounter with the world's greatest movies. A short drive from Durban, you will find Shakaland, originally built as a set for the epic TV biography of Shaka, the Zulu king. It has now become a fully functioning village in which the inhabitants practice the crafts and preserve the proud traditions of their nation. The stylish accommodation is decidedly first world, which makes its placement in this authentic tribal village all the more striking. This is not a fake theme park interpretation of the Zulu culture. The preservation of the true heritage of the past has become an important theme in this time, when Africa is celebrating a great renaissance of its heritage and culture, and Shakaland is one of the most vital encounters with that revival any tourist can expect to have. The jewel in the crown of the Cape Town waterfront is a new aquarium designed as a series of underwater walkways and viewing rooms that provide a close-up encounter with the bountiful marine life of the Cape Coast. The kelp forest is the main attraction, evoking the eerie beauty of submarine wilderness. The shallow ponds permit a hands-on encounter with the sea creatures, and the tropical tanks glow with color and action. At feeding time, the show really gets on the road, and audiences get a close-up view through the huge glass walls of the divers feeding the fish. It is almost better than a movie. But see it before you next go swimming. In Zimbabwe, you can experience a true African paradise at Elephant Hills. Situated on a bend in the river, this glamorous resort is set so high that in the distance you can see the clouds of mist rising from the Victoria Falls, an easy drive away and a magnificent sight to see. Nightfall brings a sumptuous barbecue feast and startling entertainment by nimble tribal dancers. The massive Zimbabwean carvings will seem irresistible to souvenir hunters, and so will the local craft market, where exuberant designs and expert craftsmanship make mementos of exceptional beauty. It's the best of Africa in a single sun-drenched package. Johannesburg, they call it the Joburg Jaw, that lively hour when the pleasure seekers go out to find the party. They gather at clubs, bars and restaurants, like the Hard Rock Cafe, which celebrates rock and roll as it does in so many of the world's capital cities. All you need is a smile, a sense of rhythm, and the price of a drink to put the city at your feet. Whether you party in the ritzy northern suburbs of the city or in the bohemian buzz of Melville, you can always be sure that the party starts early and ends late. And if you party through till dawn, you can see the kind of sunrise that explains why they call this the City of Gold.